What a fascinating day for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023 NFL free agency as these rumors are starting to pop off. What a report from Adam Schefter. According to him, Ezekiel Elliott wants to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's not only him reporting this from ESPN headquarters. It's also John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia, who has such a pulse on this organization, also saying that Ezekiel Elliott wants to rock the midnight green. Now, we're going to dive into this because this is really interesting on a couple of fronts, and I understand that a lot of people are fired up about this, and that's why it's so fun to talk about. Before we get started, though, our free agency coverage has been absolutely spectacular, and right now, we're in a sub-battle with a couple of other NFC East foes. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys report, New York Giants now, and right here on Philadelphia Eagles now. Make sure you subscribe to the show for shows every single day on the Birds, news, rumors, analysis, live shows, watch parties. We do it all. And when breaking news happens, whether I'm here at the Chat Sports Studios or at home, we keep you informed. But subs this week, you see that the Dallas Cowboys leading the charge with 151 since Monday. Giants now at 142. Eagles now at 140. I don't stand for this because these two organizations and these fan bases, they're all frauds. Eagles fans are the best, and this channel is the best as well. So subscribe. Let's overtake them. So here is that report from ESPN's Adam Schefter that came through here on Thursday afternoon. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott has narrowed down his options about where to play. Philadelphia Eagles, New York Jets, Cincinnati Bengals, and he would like to make his decision about where to sign by the end of next week. Schefter followed that up with this one. Eagles once signed former Cowboys running back DeMarco Murray after the Cowboys let him go. What a Chip Kelly disaster that was. I'll still remember the slide down inbound, so soft from DeMarco Murray. He was awful for this team. Aaron Rodgers would be a lure to the Jets for Ezekiel Elliott, Schefter continued. And Joe Burrow was at Ohio State in 2015 when Ezekiel Elliott was there. Little bit of a reach right there from Schefter, no doubt about it. What this really comes down to for Philadelphia here in free agency and with the roster construction for Howie Roseman and this front office, does signing Ezekiel Elliott make any sense at all? Now, the reach from Schefter on that second tweet with the whole Cincinnati Bengals thing, I kind of cracked up at that because I don't believe that to really be a playing factor in Ezekiel Elliott's decision. But let's circle back to whether or not Zeke makes sense for this football team, right? Because they brought in Rashaad Penny. They love what Kenny Gainwell did in the NFL playoffs last year as he was one of the best running backs in the NFL playoffs, and they re-signed Boston Scott as well. And right now, Howie Roseman is constructing this roster in a really interesting way, right? He is paying all three of those running backs a combined $2.5 million for 2023. And while I'm sneakily intrigued by Ezekiel Elliott for the reasons that we're about to talk about, I would only bring him in if it's about near a veteran minimum deal. The questions with Zeke, does it make sense as I posed? Can he still play? And how much would it cost? We're going to discuss all of that, break it down in further detail, and let's take a look at why it makes sense. If you sign him to a short-term deal, 1-year contract, I'd be in for a little money. Anything more than $3 million, I'm out. Ezekiel Elliott, after getting let go by the Cowboys, and since 2016 he leads all backs and touches, would come to Philadelphia motivated. Could he slim down? Would he be rejuvenated? With that, could he maybe gain a half step back, right? For him as a running back, I could see why he wants to play for the Birds. Philadelphia, even though they lost Isaac Seumalo at right guard, I still believe has the best offensive line in football. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelce, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson. The past 2 years under Nick Sirianni, the Eagles have been one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL, and Ezekiel Elliott probably sees that, and he's like, you know what? I could really have a successful season, play well, and then maybe cash in 2024. As far as him being a scheme fit, ran a lot of RPO at Ohio State, although he doesn't have the juice and the pull-away speed that he had when he was with the Buckeyes. And here's the thing about Zeke. He might be washed. He might be breaking down. He might not be the same player that he was at Ohio State and early in his career when he was leading the NFL in rushing. He is still arguably the best elite short yardage back in the NFL. And on this Eagles roster the last couple of years, outside of Jordan Howard, they've been bereft of that short yardage back. Here's why it would not make sense. Over the last couple of years, Tony Pollard's been the best back on that Dallas Cowboys roster, and they signed him to the franchise tag. That's why they're moving off of Zeke in addition to the price tag. So he's looked washed. Is he too slow now for the RPO offense that the Philadelphia Eagles like to run? The answer to that, yeah, maybe. But short yardage back and to put teams away in the second half, somewhat intriguing. You take a look at what Zeke has done over the last 4 years. He has been steadily available, that's for sure. And that's another reason why you might be like, okay, I could talk myself into this. In 2019, 16 games played, 301 carries. A lot of backs aren't getting that many totes anymore. For nearly 1,400 yards, 4.5 yards per pop with 12 touchdowns. In 2020, 244 carries, 979 yards, 4 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. In 2021, he once again surpassed the 1,000-yard mark and once again was over 4 yards per carry and 10 touchdowns. And then in 2022, it wasn't a bad season by any means, but I thought that the Dallas Cowboys force-feeded him the football when Tony Pollard was the better and more explosive back. But in a down year, behind an offensive line that suffered some injuries, 876 yards, average yards per carry less than 4, not ideal, but 12 touchdowns. So you're looking at him over the last 2 years as a guy who has 22 combined touchdowns, and over the last 3, 28 combined touchdowns. He's really good at finding some of those small lanes to run through when you enter the red area, short yardage, and around the goal line. Here's the deal with Philadelphia and why you don't want to pay Ezekiel Elliott all that much. First of all, you're kind of cash-strapped right now, and I love what Howie Roseman's done. Miles Sanders is going to be making about $6 million per year with the Carolina Panthers. And these 3 backs on your screen, $2.5 million total for 2023. I like Gainwell. Is he an RB1? Might be a stretch, but we'll see this year. Rashaad Penny, if he can stay healthy, any carry that would go to Zeke over Rashaad Penny, Tom Downey made a good point earlier, I think that'd be a mistake because Penny's the better back when he's healthy. And then Boston Scott, the giant killer, shout out to Marshall Green. Hopefully he's in shambles once again. Another good short yardage back, and you can use him in a couple of specialty situations. So with that, embrace debate. This is today's poll question here. I want to hear from everybody watching the show right now. Do you want the Eagles to sign Ezekiel Elliott? S for sign, P for pass. Share your thoughts down in the comment section. Before we continue to move forward, today's show is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 every single day, and it sets the foundation for the rest of my day. I just currently hit 300 straight days on my running streak. I don't know if I'd be able to do it without AG1 because it's really helped me prioritize my health. It's given me sustained energy, and it's boosted my immune system. I gave AG1 a try because I'm putting in so much work here at Chat Sports, as well as with my physical training. And AG1 really does keep you healthy. It's boosted my energy, supports my immune system, and helps me recover. I prioritize my health, especially over the last couple of years. That's also why I love AG1 and its 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. I just mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water. I drink it first thing each morning or before and after my workouts. I also love that something that is this good for you costs less than $3 a day. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, Athletic Greens is giving the Bird Gang a free 1-year supply of vitamin D, 5 free travel packs, which I was using at the Super Bowl Radio Row, and $20 off your purchase. Remember, you got to invest in your health. One body, one life. So that's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. Link is available in the comment section and in the description of this video. As for Ezekiel Elliott, I know that because he played for the Dallas Cowboys, everybody wants to compare him to DeMarco Murray. Different players, different offenses, different regimes, and Chip Kelly never adapted or adjusted his offense. And DeMarco Murray didn't make any sense to Chip Kelly because he was running well behind a really good Cowboys offensive line in a completely different system. And as we know, Chip Kelly had a completely different offensive philosophy. And while Zeke may be washed, I'll tell you this, He does offer you some value in a couple of areas. We talked about him finding pay dirt, right? Finding the end zone. In 2023, he allowed 2 quarterback pressures in 52 pass blocking snaps, 0 quarterback hits or sacks, and is a good short yardage player. There's also a spin zone to this. Does Ezekiel Elliott actually really want to play for the Eagles? Or is Zeke doing this just to cause conversation, just to put Cowboys fans in shambles and to create drama and to instill fear in them that he's going to rock the midnight green and haunt them for at least the 2023 campaign? Some people think like that. According to reports, Zeke will make a decision by the end of next week. So we will see if Ezekiel Elliott is in fact Philadelphia bound. It's interesting for a couple of reasons. And my guy, Elliott Shore Parks, a 94 WIP. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. Does a great job with his Go Birds podcast with my other guy, James Seltzer. He also crushes it on the air at WIP. This is kind of true here, right? And you get some of these scaries that come in and come to the forefront of your mind when you think about Zeke to the Birds. Ezekiel Elliott would be the best running back on the Eagles roster, but they should not sign him. He also did say that signing Zeke would be the first move in what could be a disastrous season for Philadelphia. So, rate Zeke as a player right now. We're not talking about 2016 when he was a stud. We're not even talking about a couple of years ago when he was still running for more than 1,000 yards. On the Madden scale, 1 to 100. 1, he blows. 100, he's elite. Let me know. Also, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. You see the handles here to my right, at Chase_Senior. I picked up almost 200 new followers on Twitter last week during free agency. A lot more on Instagram. For those of you hitting me up, chopping it up with me, it's been an absolute blast to cover this football team that I grew up idolizing as a kid in Westchester. Let's round out with the Eagles free agency tracker. Take a look at the players that they have signed to this roster, but also some of the players that they have lost. Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, Rashaad Penny, Boston Scott, Fletcher Cox, all back on 1-year contracts. It's pretty cool. And for Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, and Fletcher Cox, they've been here in order from 2010, 2011, and 2012, that they're still with this organization, especially being the Eagles legends that they are, having won Super Bowl 52, which the Cowboys haven't done, by the way, in almost 30 years. Brett Toth back to the Eagles as well. Nicholas Morrow, the linebacker who had more than 100 tackles last year for the Chicago Bears. I like him as a Kyzir White replacement. 1-year deal. Not going to pay him a lot of money either. That's a classic Howie Roseman value signing. So, too, are the acquisitions of Justin Evans, who missed 3 years after being a second-round pick at safety. He could fill in, but I do not believe that Justin Evans is going to be the starting safety opposite of Reed Blankenship. What's also interesting is that the Eagles did bring in Keanu Neal for a visit as well. Greedy Williams, former second-round pick out of LSU, comes to Philadelphia with some pedigree. And then Marcus Mariota also signing a 1-year deal to back up Jalen Hurts. Our final question of the show, you see who the Eagles have added, who the Eagles have lost, who they have retained. How do you think that Howie Roseman has done here throughout this offseason? Grade the Eagles free agency so far, A, B, C, D, or F. The players lost in free agency. Andre Dillard going to have an opportunity to start at left tackle for the Tennessee Titans. Javn Hargrave signed a 4-year, $84 million contract with the San Francisco 49ers. Isaac Seumalo might play both guard spots for Pittsburgh. We'll see exactly where he stands consistently, whether it's right guard, left guard. Started off as a left guard, then pivoted to right guard. Got paid handsomely by Pittsburgh, the other team on the other side of the state. Gardner-Minshew, $3.5 million, I believe, in guaranteed money to follow Shane Steichen to the Indianapolis Colts. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, going to miss him, even though he's kind of been a little bit weird on his exit and on his way out, signing that 1-year deal up to $8 million with the Detroit Lions. T.J. Edwards, $12 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears. Miles Sanders getting paid by Frank Reich and the crew. He heads to the Carolina Panthers. Kyzir White getting more money with Jonathan Gannon in Arizona than he did this past year. Zach Pascal also going to the desert with Kyzir White and Jonathan Gannon. Who will be next? We're not sure, but we'll break it down here on Eagles Now when it does happen. So with that, we round out with this. Which player will you miss the most among the players who we just showed you? Let us know down in the comment section. EAGLES, Eagles.